'Tis the season, still midge season that is. So in recent videos I tied a small black surface film midge and a rainbow warrior, kind of a variant, but no midge box would be complete without a Higa SOS. So this is my version, not exact to pattern, but works for me. We're going to stick with our size 20 Daiichi hook, use 8/0 unit thread, a piece of extra small silver wire, and several pheasant tail fibers for a tail. I think the pattern calls for black, but these look dark enough and they'll work. And we're going to use the brown crystal flash for legs and Sulky for a wing case. So here's a little trick I wanted to share where if you need a bundle of materials cut to the same size, wrap them around something. Here I have one of those wooden pins, but a clothespin would work, or anything where you can get a scissor point underneath. So that's our bundle of Sulky that we'll use for the wing case. And we'll put our hook in the vise and get started. So I have it tilting down at first because we're going to work at the rear end of this hook for at the beginning. We're going to get some thread started and snip off the excess. Actually saw off the excess. The snipping usually leaves a longer tip. And here's that small, extra small silver wire. Not silver as in if William Devane gave it to me, but I think it's aluminum to be honest. So I took a few wraps forward, but I'm going to undo those when I realize I have to put the tail on, and I don't want to be that far forward when I start. So there's my little bundle of tail fibers. Going to double check the length. And not exactly a pinch wrap, but use my pointer finger to kind of hold them on top of the hook as we get down to where the thread ended before. So back and forth a couple of times to smooth things up, make sure we fill any low spots or grooves with thread. And I'm going to use the rotary feature on the vise, so I'm going to get a half hitch on here to make sure things don't come loose. Let's bring in the bobbin cradle and reach in and snip off the tips without catching the thread. So I'm getting pretty spoiled now, liking to wrap the ribbing material and certain hackles and whatever with the rotary features of vices. I'm not sure I could go back to, in fact I know I can't. I can't go back to a vise without a rotary function. I had one in my travel kit and we didn't get along very well, so I had to upgrade it. I have another Renzetti that I use. I think it's the presentation model. And I'm left-handed, and I happened to find one that was left-handed that I didn't actually pay a premium for. Usually lefties, we have to pay extra for everything. So here we'll tilt the hook back up in the vise. And with these curved hooks, you have to kind of exaggerate how far up we tip that so that the thread still doesn't want to fall off the front. So there's that bundle of Sulky tinsel, I guess I call it. 4 or 5 fibers seem to work well for, you just need a little dot of red. It doesn't have to be a full red thorax. I could have done a longer bundle and done several flies, but this was kind of a 1 or 2 fly deal here, so I just settled for a small bundle, or a short bundle. Trim off the excess. And let's add some dubbing. So this dubbing has, actually it came from my Caddis Life Cycles box, but I think it was replaced by accident with something that's not exactly Caddis Life Cycle. It's not quite shiny enough. I think it's got a little antron in it, but it's got guard hairs and it's not all synthetic. So somehow that got in there, and I know what it is, so I know when and where I should use it. So I'll pull those sulky fibers forward and get a couple of wraps on those. Now I left about a hook eye worth of space behind there, and that's important because we're going to want to turn these fibers back over. And so there I wrap back about 3 wraps with the set of legs on this side. And if I just wrap right there with the legs pulled back on the other side, that'll put them where I want them. And I'll just stay in that same place and pull the sulky back towards the bend of the hook. So I'll reach around the camera here and pull things out of the way and get a whip finish on here. And I think I went 3 turns on this one. It could have been 3, 4, or 5, but we're going to put some head cement on it, and I think it'll stay together just fine. So saw that thread away and gather up the sulky and snip it off. Having the butt ends there is not a big deal because it's going to be under the head cement. And while we're snipping, we'll cut the legs to length. And somewhere around, I don't know, halfway back the body. They could have been a little longer, a little shorter. That's basically it. And I don't know if in high res you'll see that fiber, but it drove me crazy when I saw it on the camera. And I also see that other guard hair sticking out back there too. We have to nip that out of the way. So this is just a drop or two of Sally Hansen's to seal things up. And that's basically it. So in terms of midge patterns, this one's relatively easy to tie. Very few materials, and it catches fish when some of the other ones won't. So thanks if you hung in there to the end and want to learn more about me, look me up on Amazon. Until next time, be safe.